So, Koji, exactly how much do you like food?
I love food. Food is like my favorite thing in the world. I consider myself a foodie, but I'm not like a elitist foodie because I think that just because food is expensive doesn't mean it's good. I love like food trucks and not the fancy fancy food trucks. I love like the down home food trucks, but I also love the supermarket stuff. I love like just good stuff, and I don't care if it's expensive or not. And sometimes expensive is good. Like for my birthday, my family and I went to this omakase place, this sushi place, and it was like $450 a person, and it was like amazing. But like I don't necessarily obviously I don't eat like that all the time, but it was a really great experience.
That's awesome. Oh, well, I want to hear more about it.
This is a small place, hole in the wall in Alhambra. And it was it's like a 7-person, only 7 people could sit there. Wow. And the chef makes everything for you. We went with my son and my wife, and my son's obviously never been to anything like this. But the funny part was in the beginning, in Japanese culture, you always want to eat something alive first, because it's like something about taking in the power of living things. Mm-hmm. So it was a lobster that he killed in front of us, and it was a lot for my son who.
Oh, so it doesn't have to be alive while you're eating it.
Not eating it, but like before we eat it, right before eating it, it should be alive. And so he ate it, or he looked at it, and he was kind of not excited about it, but it was really good, and everything was really, really good because he'd basically make it each one and then put it on a plate and then make another one and put it on a plate. And I mean, it was amazing. I mean, it's one of those things that I think is one of the best foods I've ever eaten.
Well, even as a vegan vegetarian, my first thought is like, oh, but like I feel like if you can say like I appreciate in this case power or like the nutrition that you're giving to me, like from the animal, that like say like I thank you for this, then it makes it easier. That's what I would do. I'd be like, thank you for giving me.
That's kind of what it is.
Yeah,
right. It's kind of like that. You need to appreciate what you're eating.
Yeah.
And I think what's different about this, that than other places, is that because it's so slow and it's so organized and so immaculate, that you feel like that you appreciate it in a way that like if I had like 12 rolls of California rollers or something, I wouldn't appreciate it. I'm just kind of
I would inhale that.
Right, you're just inhaling it. Yeah. Whereas like on this, it's like you're one at a time, and he's telling you about where it came from and how it's prepared and how it's different than other places and other things, and where and why you eat it like this and that. And
that's lovely.
Yeah, because you're really appreciating, and you're only eating one for the another 20 minutes, so it's like that's like the one that you eat and you appreciate, and he even tells you how to eat it and how what to dip it in, and it's like an experience as well as just eating.
I do have one more question for you, because I've seen a lot of this on social media recently. Like, say it was your last meal, what would be your last meal?
I love Japanese curry rice. Mm-hmm. So it'd probably be a Japanese curry rice with like a bunch of like ice cream at the end. What about you? What was your last meal?
It would be sushi and udon soup.
Oh.
I like to say that, you've seen Kung Fu Panda, of course. I think we may have even talked about this in the last episode. But I love Poe's dad because he's obsessed with noodles, and I'm like, I'm also obsessed with noodles. Like one of these days I'm gonna make like a noodle hat just so that I can be like him. But I love all different kinds of noodles, but udon is my favorite.
Have you been to the place in Little Tokyo? It's on First Street. There's an udon place. It's a really famous udon place. If you haven't been there, okay, I'm gonna send you it because
please send me the link.
They hand make it. If you sit on the counter, you can actually see the people making the udon, which is really, you have to go there. It's like
have to.
I used to work in Little Tokyo, and that was by far my favorite restaurant.
I like to kind of like, I have a piggy bank, and I like to save up all my coins, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna go to Little Tokyo and treat myself. Hello, and welcome to What If Pop Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Katie.
And I'm your other host, Koji. This is where we dive headfirst into the intriguing and imaginative world of pop culture's most fascinating what-if scenarios. We usually have a guest right now, but we don't have a guest today. So, Katie, how are you doing?
How am I doing?
Yes.
You know what? The sun is out. I'm hydrated. I've had coffee. And I'm feeling inspired. How about that?
That sounds great. And I am doing super well. I was telling Katie that we played baseball in Arizona this week for a big tournament, and my team did really well. Usually we lost our first 2 games, and usually that means that we keep losing. Like my team didn't before this have a lot of heart in them. Like they would just give up. And then these kids, for the first time, they came back and kept winning. And then even in the last game, we were down 8-3 in the 3rd inning. And usually that means that like we're going to get our ass kicked like 18-3. Like they just give up and start arguing with each other. But for the first time in their life, first time in their lives with me on this team, they fought back and they won. And we ended up getting a ring, and it was really exciting. Yeah, so you can see the ring over there.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Yeah. You know what? This reminds me, another podcast that I love is My Favorite Murder. And during the pandemic, to kind of like keep things positive, they would, at the end of every episode, they would do a fucking hooray. Like, what's your fucking hooray for the week? So I have a fucking hooray as well.
Let me hear it.
So something that I also write and work in the film industry, but something that I am really passionate about. My mom thinks this is what I should like spend a lot of time doing, is I love creating things, like, you know, I do cosplay. And I always say, like, if I just feel inspired to make something, I do. And so I've been really trying to get to know people in like the practical effects industry. So like legacy effects, industrial light and magic, Funko, stuff like that. And so this bar that I've worked at for a while, Scum and Villainy Cantina, they have like all kinds of props there. Like when people go there, actually a really cool thing is the guy who designed the original cantina, the Mos Eisley cantina for Star Wars, came in and showed us his blueprints. Like he made it for the movie in 1977. And they have like all these IG units hanging from the ceiling and he signed them. But I'm like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like it's right up my alley. It's like cast and mold and stuff like that. So recently the owner has been like, hey, I have all these props, but they are not ready to put on display because someone needs to paint them. And so I've been painting. I did like a Stargate helmet. I did a Predator helmet. I just finished like the Master Sword for Link and a pumpkin bomb from the Spider-Verse for the Green Goblin. And they're all on display at Scum and Villainy right now. I'm just so proud. I'm so happy that someone wanted me to like do artwork for them. And then not only that, but like put it on display for other people to see. So I would say like this is like a super happy moment for me.
That's exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. In this episode, we're asking the question, what if all food tasted the same? But before we answer that question, let's talk about some fun food facts. Koji, did you know that raspberries are a member of the rose family?
I did not know that. Did you know that?
I didn't. I think it's delightful.
So we're eating roses, basically.
Wow. I hope that makes me like prettier and smell better.
I remember at the prom, my senior prom, I was eating roses and I got sick, but it's okay. I mean, I didn't get so sick I couldn't keep going to the prom, but... You
know, I don't know why I feel like I've eaten a rose petal, and I don't think it tastes... Like, in my mind, it doesn't taste good.
No,
it tastes like I like to say it tastes like perfume.
Let's see. Chickpeas and almond contain almost as much protein as steak. I did not know that.
That's crazy. Okay, that's good, because I put chickpeas in my pasta and my salad.
And you're a vegetarian?
I am.
Okay.
On a good day, I'm vegan. On most days, I'm vegetarian.
Okay. Is that by choice or by...
Thank you for asking. So I just hate meat. I think it's like, for me, I am totally not judgmental of other people. I actually like when people have barbecues. I think it smells really good. I love the smell of barbecue. But for me, it's just always been like a texture thing.
Yeah.
Like my mom would ask me, like, can you cut the chicken for dinner tonight? Like, cut the parts away that you don't need. And there would be like no chicken left. I'd be like, there's none of this is edible. I threw it all away.
I think we share actually a lot in common. Most people don't know this about me, but I've been vegetarian at different parts of my life.
I had no idea.
Because I'm actually grossed out by meat in general, by like eating animals. Like, so the story I told you about the lobster usually would like disgust me, but at the time I was like, I need to go through with this and experience it. And it was from my kid too, so I didn't want to like act like I was disgusted. But normally I would be like, nah, I'm not doing this. But yeah, so I've gone in and out of being not totally vegetarian, because I still have to eat fish because I'm Japanese, and fish is such a part of Japanese culture that I couldn't like.
It's really
like it would be impossible to like not eat that.
That's the thing that keeps me from being vegan, really.
Is the fish part. Mm-hmm. But everything else, I mean, I've never, you know, like when I cut meats for dinner, when I make dinner for my family, I usually don't want to eat it after I cut it all. Or if it's cooking, I'm like not into it anymore. So usually like if I'm just going to make my own food, I would never make meat, or I'd have to buy it already made, and I could just put it in without thinking about it too much. But yeah, so we're on the same page.
Okay. Caesar salad isn't from anywhere near Italy. The Caesar salad was actually invented in Tijuana, Mexico in in 1927 at the Caesar Hotel. There's even an annual festival in Tijuana every June in honor of this infamous dish.
I can't believe I've never heard about this. I mean, this is, I've lived 47 years of my life, and this is the first time I've heard this.
Yeah, me too. That's why I was so, yeah.
What's your favorite salad?
Oh, I like a good hearty salad. I like putting all kinds of stuff in there, like chickpeas or nuts. My salad, the salad that I make, is my favorite salad.
Really? Okay.
What about you?
Mine's weird. I mean, I really, really like CPK's barbecue chicken top salad.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, I love that. I don't know why. I mean, it's like not the best salad I've ever had. Not gonna say that, but there's something about that salad. It might be also like I ate it a lot in college because I ate there a lot, but I think it maybe is nostalgic too. But I do like the taste of the ranch and barbecue. Mm-hmm. I think that like there's something about that, and in that salad that I really like.
When people oh, you're just gonna eat salad, I'm like, a salad doesn't have to just be
like romaine
basic.
Lettuce. Yeah,
it can be great.
Like the green lettuce and croutons.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
Like, I love, honestly, a good salad bar where I can just like, oh yeah, like when you can go to, I don't know, there's 1,000. Think of your favorite salad bar favorite salad bar. Are you crazy? But like going to Whole Foods and like,
Whole Foods.
Oh my God, like putting I like to put like dolmas, like grape leaf wraps in there. And like you could put a little tofu and some like grilled veggies in there. And I make a crazy hearty salad, but with lots of like spinach and arugula or something.
Well, that sounds good.
Yeah. And then you shake it up in the container. It's awesome. And oh, okay. Moving on. That's enough about salad.
Coriander, aka cilantro, may taste like soap to you because of your genes. According to News Medical, most cilantro haters shared a particular group of olfactory receptor genes called OR6A2 that has the capacity to identify the smells of aldehyde chemicals that are present in coriander or cilantro leaves, as well as soaps. I did not know that.
Yeah, and I didn't know that coriander and cilantro are the same thing, because I thought coriander is like a spice often used in like Chinese dishes. That's where I first heard of it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like the powder form, like the ground up powder form of cilantro. I don't know.
That's interesting. I mean,
now I'm making food myths instead of food facts.
Well, it's funny because my aunt she didn't like the taste of cilantro, and I was like disregarding her about it always, and I would just put it in my food anyway.
Yeah.
But now I think maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should have respected her wishes a little bit more. So I feel bad. Sorry.
Sorry, Grandma. Oh, well, that's going back to being vegetarian, because I feel like when I was a kid, I felt so bad. Like, you're a kid, you're dumb, you don't know everything, like how to act or whatever. And my grandma would make food, and I'd be like I was getting because I didn't know how to vocalize like I don't like meat, and now I feel so bad for my grandma who like cooked these dishes, and I'd be like,
Although,
she's like, stop gagging. There's nothing wrong with my food.
Although, speaking of like vegetarians, I have a family friend daughter who came to my house once, or stayed with me once, and she wanted to be a vegetarian. She kept saying she's a vegetarian, but it was only when she didn't want to eat the food that she was a vegetarian.
Oh,
and so every time we went to this one place where I knew she liked the food, and then I'm saying, oh hey, by the way, that doesn't mean it. You can't eat. You're a vegetarian, right? And she's like, no, I could eat that. I was like, no, you're not a vegetarian. I was like, don't lie, you're not a vegetarian. You're saying that a vegetarian in lieu of telling, so your parents don't make you eat this, but in reality you are, because I see you eat all the stuff that's not vegetarian. You
liar.
Not that she's a liar, but she's just smart about how she's getting around.
That is smart.
Making her parents eat her food.
She's going to go far in life, for better or for worse. Okay. One fast food burger can have meat from 100 different cows.
That makes me sick. I don't want to know.
Right?
Although, they're saying that eventually we might be eating crickets anyway. Crickets have more nutritional value. They're better for the environment, and they especially if you fry them and put a little bit of salt. Apparently, they're really good. I've never had one. There's cricket restaurants in LA. We should try it sometime.
It sounds crunchy.
Yeah, no,
and I do like crunchy stuff.
You do like crunchy stuff. Fruit flavored snacks shine because of car wax. Oh,
that's not good.
So like
I guess
like the gummies or something, or the wraps, oh, that's disgusting.
Do you remember when they said like yoga mats are in Subway sandwich bread?
Wait, what? I didn't remember that.
This
but okay.
is like a decade-old food fact, but like, yeah, I guess like sometimes they use like the same. I assume it's edible because the FDA has to approve this stuff, but
There was a comedian, I don't know which comedian, to apologize for the credit, but there's a comedian who always makes a joke of what color Subway bread do you want? Because they all taste the same. Like, so you don't have to actually tell them the kind. You just need to tell them the color, because the only difference between the bread and
really?
is the color of it. Yeah, I mean,
I do and don't want to now go experiment with Subway bread. But I love myself more than to do that, and I just want to eat different bread.
yeah, like
There's
Subway
a lot
is
of
like
good bread out
Subway's
there.
like the cheapest thing in the world. No offense, unless you want to sponsor this show, then we will.
Subway.
We will love Subway after that.
Do you know how much I love sandwiches? If you wanna sponsor this show, I will eat so many sandwiches with a smile on my face and 2 thumbs up. Okay, this one is also very interesting. The red food dye for Skittles is made from boiled beetles. A common red food dye, carminic acid, is made from the crushed bodies of a beetle called, a Dactylopius coccus.
Wow.
The acid is used in maraschino cherries, strawberries, and raspberry flavored candy and lipstick.
Yikes. That sounds terrible. No, I don't eat Skittles anyway, so it's fine. And I don't really eat the cherries I probably eat strawberry and raspberry flavored candy, but I don't eat a lot of candy. Or I don't use lipstick, so I'm probably okay on this.
But red lipstick? Uh-oh. I mean, you're okay on this.
Yeah.
Skittles are delicious, but I don't know when the last time was that I ate one.
Yeah. But, I think to that point, though, I think it's interesting that, a lot of times we don't know where our food comes from, and we don't know how they're made or what they're doing, or so I do think it's interesting that when you get that experience of like how things are made, you get a better sense of things. Like, so one of the jokes that I make about Asian Americans and Asian people is that how long Asians been in this country, or how many generations they've been in this country, by how much they eat the fish or the chicken. So if like you're a recent immigrant, you'll eat every part of it. Like you'll eat the eyeball and you'll suck the marrow out, and like there won't be any part of the and then, by the way, you probably like cook the bones and make like broth with it. Mm-hmm. Whereas Asian Americans, or the longer you've been here, you start becoming like Americans, and you start eating just the breast meat, or you eat and you leave so much of the meat, and a lot of it, you waste it. I mean, my stepdad, for example, he was in Hiroshima during the war, and like for him, like food was scarce, and so whatever food there was, he had to eat it, and that stayed with him all his life, that he's not going to he doesn't waste food.
Yeah.
But whereas, Americans like myself, we eat like on a drumstick, we'll eat like 4 bites and then we'll toss it and eat the next one.
Yeah.
Whereas, there's a lot more food than 4 bites on each drumstick,
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of I was doing a diet for a while, and they're like, oh, try and make sure every time that you eat that you leave a little food on the plate.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I have a
Are you still on the diet though?
No, I do intermittent fasting now.
How many times?
Well, what I do is I eat for 8 hours a day, and then I don't eat
every
for
day?
16. Yeah. I was really inspired by the Chris Hemsworth. He did this episode where he fasted for 4 days, and they talked about how that affects your body in really good ways.
Yeah, I do 24-hour fasts once a week.
Oh, cool.
So I do it from Tuesday lunch at 12 to Wednesday at 12. And it makes a huge difference. I mean, first of all, you're eating 1/7 less food.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then there's also you just appreciate food more. It's funny because when I make my dog's food, I can smell the food and it smells good.
Yeah, it does.
When I walk the dog outside, I can smell the food from different houses. It's crazy how when I'm eating normally, I don't smell food. I mean, you smell food unless if it's really, really pungent, you'll smell it. But when I'm not eating, all of a sudden I can smell food everywhere. And then I realize how much of my life is around food. Like, for example, when I'm writing and I'm fasting, I'll get up and go to the kitchen. And then I'll look through the fridge, and then I'm like, oh, wait, it's Tuesday afternoon. I can't eat. But it's weird. It's like this habit of just, I'm always eating. Even when I'm going to meetings, I have to think about what I'm doing. But yeah, sorry, I cut you off.
I'm very actually passionate about nutrition and stuff. I don't talk about it a lot, but it's probably one of my main fascinations is understanding food and nutrition. But I was eating super clean. I've noticed when I eat super clean, spinach tastes like butter. I think that because we eat so much,
Salt.
so many processed foods, so much salt, so much whatever, that we like the actual way that food tastes naturally, we lose that because it's like, I hate to make this comparison, but in a way like a drug. Like,
it is.
And so you want more. And then when you when I'm not going to sound preachy, ate super clean, I was able to really taste how food really tastes. And I was like, I will take like a whole handful of like fresh spinach and just eat it. I'm like, this is delicious. It tastes so much different when I'm able to eat better. Now I love cake and ice cream, and I'm going to eat pizza tonight.
Yeah.
So, so it's not like I'm better. I just like, these are experiments that I've done throughout my life that I've noticed,
Although, let me tell you, my dog,
yeah,
she eats organic raw chicken. So like, I always joke with my son that my dog probably eats better than most humans on this planet. Like, it's like, I mean, it's super clean, it's super good, and it's like, you're just like, damn.
They don't have a choice. They don't get to go to wherever and get like a cookie or ice cream when they feel like it.
But with my dog before, his name was Rabbit, we got him from the Humane Society, and they gave us the food that he was eating. And with dogs, I don't know how much you know about dogs, but you don't want to change their diet too quickly, or because they'll get like diarrhea.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so like, you basically want to like keep them on food and then change it slowly. So we were giving him that food from the Humane Society, which is the cheapest shit, like, it's just like the worst stuff. And then we slowly put him on the food that we wanted to give him.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because like, once we got him on our food, his energy level was higher. His coat was shinier. He was like just a better dog and a more healthy dog. And it's just amazing how like that crap food was probably like equivalent
of
McDonald's.
It's not giving you the nutrition that your body needs to actually function.
Because it's so cheap. Whereas now, like he make like that dog, Rabbit, and Coffee here, they both eat really, really well.
Well, that you reminded me about the intermittent fasting. Was the first thing I noticed was that like I had so much energy. I'm like, I can't even go to sleep. Like, I'm never tired, I
don't have that problem with it. I'm so hungry.
I'm also trying to change my, like, when I go to bed and stuff, I'm trying to wake up earlier and earlier. I've always been a night person, and I'm like, no, I'm fascinated by the idea of being a morning person.
I don't think you can be, though. If you're not a morning person, you're just not a morning
person. I'm gonna achieve this. I'm a vampire at heart.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm a morning person.
Yeah.
Like, the moment the sun comes up, I'm up, if not earlier.
What I want, though.
Yeah. But it's also hard at night, though. I have the opposite problem. But,
yeah.
All right,
there's one more.
One more. And did you know pepper doesn't actually burn your mouth? There's a chemical in chili peppers called capsaicin that tricks your mouth into feeling like it's being burned. Oh, that's interesting.
That's interesting. I also, that fascinates me as well, like having to do with the brain.
Yeah.
That like, how much could we tolerate, or how much could we actually tolerate if we understood why things happen and not just how we feel about it?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is something I talked to my son about, because he's an athlete. And so one of the things that he had to learn was that you just can't eat anything you want, especially for him. He needs to think, he just needs to understand what he takes in and how it affects his body, and that's something that I don't think 12-year-olds and 11-year-olds have conversations about, but because of what he does, that's what he does.
Recently, I ate like some candy from when I was a child, and I was reminded of how good it is.
Yeah.
There was like Airheads and Jolly Ranchers, recently it was like Sour Patch Kids.
We have some right here, probably.
I'll have some as a reward for doing a great job. But like, I remember when I was a kid, like the teacher could hold like an Airhead or a Jolly Rancher like up in the air, and we would just go wild, like really? Ravenous out, and like, yes, give me that. That's, oh my God. Like anyways.
That's funny. I mean, it's like, it makes sense because like, even something like Mountain Dew, like I haven't had Mountain Dew since I'm an adult, but I can imagine that Mountain Dew probably tastes really good because it's so much caffeine and so much sugar in it. I'm sure it tastes good. Yeah. But it's like, do I really want to drink something like this? Like, that doesn't even like sound good, but it probably is good. I mean, it just has so much crap in it. It couldn't help but taste good.
Yeah. Sometimes just having a little taste of something is enough to be like, oh, this does taste good. But I know now from experience that if I drink this whole thing, I'm not going to feel good afterwards.
Yeah, because it's terrible for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your brain's like, what? Okay, so now that we have some nasty food facts to consider, let's share our what if scenarios.
So the question is, what if all food tasted the same? Mm-hmm. And I think I said this on an earlier pod, but one of the things that's made me think a lot about this was my wife. She had cancer a couple years ago, and she was doing chemo, and she couldn't really taste food. So I told her, well, if you can't taste anything, then you should eat boiled chicken and raw broccoli. But even then, she didn't want to because she still like sought a taste of food.
Yeah.
You know, but let me just say this. If all food tasted the same, I think our lives would be so much worse because there's so much like enjoyment. Like for me, there's so much enjoyment in food. Like, I don't know how to say this, but it's, you know, good food could make my whole day. It could, I mean, I'm still thinking about my birthday lunch or my birthday dinner, and I was like a month ago. And it's like, because it was so awesome, you know? Not that it was, I mean, not just because it was expensive, because it was an awesome experience and the food tasted amazing. And, you know, that's something that I could live with. And if you take that away, I don't know what I would do, how to fill that time.
It's the communal, we're making food together and then we're going to eat food together. So I think about like growing up and like for Thanksgiving or Christmas, and like everyone gets together and we're making cookies, we're making the whatever we're going to eat for Christmas or Thanksgiving, and like the conversations you have around that. Or like my roommate is so awesome. Like he loves making food for people. He's like, oh my God, I'm going to make like Gouda mac and cheese. Last night he experimented with making homemade Pop-Tarts, and he just loves making food for everybody and like and I'm like sitting here like, you don't need to do all this work for me. Like I feel bad, but he loves doing that. And people come over and it creates like this great experience. So I think, yeah, we might miss out on that.
My dog Coffee, who's sitting in the office here, she's not food motivated. She's the first dog that I've ever met that is not food motivated. And there's a lot of power in not being food motivated. You know, other dogs, I'd be like, hey, here's a treat. And then basically I could get the dog to do anything I wanted because there's a treat. Good point. But with her, if she doesn't want to do it, she's like, no, I'm good. And you're just like, you have to do it, you know? So I think like, I wonder if our lives would be better though. First of all, I think we'd be healthier as a society. I mean, Americans are fat. I mean, that's one thing that everyone says about Americans is we're fat. And it's true, because you go to other countries, it's just not as fat. So, I mean, I wonder if we'd just be in better shape, and like maybe some of these psychological problems. I think some of the problems with kids are because they're eating shit. Yeah. You know, like I know a lot of kids on my baseball team, for example, that eat only crap. You know, like if you only eat crap, then your mind is crap and your body's crap.
You're not going to be able to run to the base or like catch the ball like if you're in the outfield.
You can, but just not to your highest potential.
You won't be sharp.
Yeah, you're not your highest potential because, you know, sugar's like a drug, or I'm not and I don't care if people eat sugar. Like I'm not one of those like you can't eat any sugar kind of guys, but I do think like you can't eat a lot of it. Like, you know, like you have to moderate things. But I wonder if we would just be happier and in better shape if we didn't worry about this stuff.
Well, first of all, that made me think of like the mental energy that we put into like, what am I going to eat for my next meal that could be put towards something else. Yeah. There's a lot of times like also thinking psychologically, like when people don't have a lot of control over something, maybe they try and have control in another area. I say this from a privileged point of view in Los Angeles, California, where we have access to a lot of food. But for some people, it could be that that's something you can control in your life. Like eating this food or creating this meal or that meal can control how I feel today and tomorrow. But back to the point of everything's going to taste the same.
But you also said that when you're not, you know, like when, for example, when you're doing intermittent fasting, you have more focus. I wonder if we were eating just healthy food because it all tasted the same. No, say if we were all eating like healthy food and just like it all tasted the same anyway. Yeah. Then maybe we'd have more focus. Maybe we would, you know, a lot of these problems I think are related
like writing.
Like writing.
You know, people talk about writer's block, or it could be anything creative or whatever, like wanting to accomplish something. And I come up with all these different tricks that get me to like accomplish something. But yeah, what if we just had the energy to accomplish anything we wanted?
Yeah, because all you were eating is a little bit of protein, a little bit of vegetable, a little bit of fruit, and a little bit of like grain, and then, you know, you're done.
It's all in a little dried up bar.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter how good it tastes or bad it tastes, right? I mean, in a way, I'm starting to talk myself into thinking this might be a good thing.
I know. I think that I do, like, as a person, love the idea of getting together to like make food. Like I also love throwing parties and like making food for people
and eating it.
I would miss that.
Yeah. Let me say this. You know, like our opiate crisis in America is such a big deal, right? In other countries, like for example in Japan, those opiate prescriptions are over the counter. Like anybody could go and get it, and they don't have the same problem.
Oh, but they don't have the problem.
And the reason is that there's something else going on. There's something underlying going on. And I wonder if it's like the amount of shit that we, cause even if you look at like Coca-Cola, like our cola in the United States is like significantly higher sugar content. Yeah. Anywhere else in the world. Like if you drink like European Coke, it's totally different. If you drink like a Japanese Coke, it's like, it doesn't taste the same. And it's because we put like, I don't know, I'm just throwing out a number, like 10 times the amount of sugar in our drinks.
So it's an addiction moment.
Yeah, and it's like I think there's something to be said for the food that we're putting in our bodies that just are unhealthy. Another thing that I think about. So when we were a kid, or I'm older than you. When I was a kid, there was like almost no kids with peanut allergies, right?
Yeah.
And about a quarter of the kids, like my son, has a peanut allergy. And the two most common allergies in kids now are peanuts and soybeans. And if you look at the two crops that are most genetically modified are peanuts and soybeans.
Yes.
And I don't think that's a coincidence. There's just because there's causation doesn't mean there's correlation. Yeah. But I think there has to be a correlation between that. And that just goes to show the kind of food that we're putting in our bodies. But if our food was just normal, like we didn't have to put all this crap. Maybe our world would be a better place, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe if food didn't have this connotation, like you said, there's a bar that had all the things that you needed in it, and it just tasted the same because everything tasted the same. Maybe it would be better.
And everyone would feel good and
felt satiated. You know. All right, which story do we think is most plausible, and what story do we wish actually happened?
Well, the thing that kind of comes to my mind is like, I think when you're just talking conversationally with your friends at the bar, you're like, what if all the food tasted the same? And like, at first I'm like, okay, I get to pick. No, I don't get to pick. Like, so I'm wondering, like, what is this food going to taste like? Is it going to be something I really like? Because some people are like really sweet. They like sweet stuff. I love savory stuff. So it could be different for different people. Is it going to taste like cardboard?
I imagine bland.
It's going to be like It's going to be like food rations for like the military, where you eat like a bar.
Sure.
That is.
But if you've never tasted good or bad, then it would be the only thing that you've tasted.
Well, I have to say, you've really inspired me to feel better about this, because I also think everyone's natural reaction is like, oh my God, no. But I think for me, because just I've always said, and I am a weirdo, like I really am, like I'm obsessed with like how the brain works. I love nutrition. For me, it wouldn't be that bad. I would be like, okay, and I would like look on the bright side, like how much more energy we have, like we think. But I think for a lot of people, it would take a lot of joy out of their life.
It would probably, but it would also save them a bunch of money because all the restaurants would be out of business.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that.
They would just do something else.
Gosh, this is such a complex question.
Yeah.
Does beer all taste the same?
Yeah,
Does all alcohol taste the same?
Everything would taste the same, yeah.
Wow, what would our world be like if literally everything tasted the same? Because there'd be so many industries that just wouldn't exist.
Yeah, and my friend who has sushi eaten off her for her job, she would be out of a job.
And people can't write about food anymore. There would be no Food Network.
Oh no.
Now we're really in trouble.
Food bloggers would be fucked. They'd have to do something else.
There would be no Great British. Now this is sad. There would not be the Great British Baking Show. And therefore there would not be the Great Pottery Throwdown, which is one of my favorite shows.
Although it would probably be easier to poison people because if everything tastes the same, then
they wouldn't be able to smell the difference.
Well, part of the way you detect poison is if it tastes funny, right? Like my son's allergic to a lot of things. And whenever he tastes something and it tastes bad, it means that it's probably something he's allergic to.
We haven't even barely scraped the surface of this question.
Yeah, I'm going to go. At first I was like horrified by the idea that food would all taste the same, but now I'm kind of thinking it might be better for humanity.
I do too. And we wouldn't know any different.
Yeah,
it's not like we would be like, oh, I miss going to restaurants and baking cookies with my aunt, because we wouldn't have that.
Yeah.
We would bake little bars that all taste the same and put food coloring on them.
And I want to be like my dog and not motivated by food. And then I could, think of for my own. I don't need other people to try to trick me with food, to come over to their place and eat food. Maybe I don't want to come over to their place and eat food.
What if we made a challenge to ourselves and the audience that we are going to pick one food and we're going to eat it for a week? And everyone will report back on one of our Instagram posts. I'm going to post it. And for a week, we're all going to eat one food. And we're going to report back and see how our lives have changed for the better or worse.
I hope that one thing is good, not bad.
You get to choose it.
It can't be like chili cheese fries every day.
I've actually heard it's pretty good for your body to eat the same thing for an extended period of time because it just gets used to processing that one thing.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is not that it's good and bad, like tasting, but like that it's actually good for you.
Healthy.
Yeah,
so
healthy.
We're also challenging each other to eat something healthy.
Yeah, because like if I was like, I'm going to eat chili cheese fries every day, 3 times a day for the next week.
That's not.
You're probably going to die.
That's a bad experiment. No, the experiment is to try and eat something that you like, but that's on the healthy side for a week and see what happens.
So if all food tasted just like one food, which would you pick?
Well, now I have to pick between sushi and udon.
But it'd be hard if everything tasted like sushi. That'd be weird.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking soup, it makes you feel warm and happy, and it can have lots of different types of nutrition in it, like proteins and vegetables and carbohydrates. So I think I'm going to go with udon soup.
That's a weird taste for everything to taste like udon, but okay. I mean, I like udon, so I'm good. I would personally choose ice cream. Have everything just taste like ice cream. If everything's gonna taste the same, it might as well taste like ice cream, like good ice cream. Then
you're right.
Like I could eat broccoli that tastes like ice cream.
Right.
I could take like I'll just eat salad with no dressing on it, and it'll taste like ice cream. And I could just eat like that and chicken with no seasoning on it.
Okay, take it back. I want everything to taste like macaroni and cheese. Really good macaroni and cheese.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might take my son would definitely choose the macaroni and cheese. I'd choose the ice cream. All right. Thank you all so much for listening. There are almost 3 million podcasts, and we're honored you've chosen ours to listen to. Please check our Instagram, What If Pop Podcast, for news and updates. And remember to subscribe on your preferred podcasting platform so you'll be notified about our new episodes. And as a heads up, Google Podcasts will be moving to YouTube Music. Be sure to tune in next month where we'll be answering the question, what if there was no Star Wars? Wait, what? That would be terrible.
Who would I be? I would be a completely different personality.
I'd love to change the question to what if there was no Star Wars before the last 3 movies? Oh. Well, thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening. Bye, everybody.